because it's just so expensive. It's getting more expensive. It's not sustainable. And even the eco-friendly option, do you actually reach out on your gut and be like, okay, I'll go for eco-friendly
Why should I pay you that 10 cents to be eco-friendly when you can pay that damn 10 cents? That pisses me off.
Yes,
That's where I draw the line.
And today's podcast is brought to you by Grab, right? Welcome back to Wise and Shine. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. Today we are in a different set with a whole new bunch of people. I have never felt so old in a long time. So yes, who am I with? Would you like to introduce yourself?
So my name's Nisha. I'm one of the co-hosts for Identities Unknown. I do that with SciSure. And I'm also an undergraduate doing political science and South Asian studies in NUS.
What's so unknown about identities?
Exactly the point. I also don't know. 11 episodes in and I still do not know what identity it is. But one thing is that throughout the entire podcast series, right, my identity has changed. I had no bangs to having bangs. Then I had like a random hair color. And then I had another random hair color. And then I'm on a break. So that's great.
Okay. That's a great start. And yourself?
Still finding myself. No, I'm kidding. My name is Abrey. I'm currently an environmental studies student at Yale NUS College. No, we are still open.
How do you know I was going to ask that question? Is Yale NUS still around? I thought it's there already.
No.
So-
I think one more year. One more year. Yes.
Oh wait, so you're the last batch?
Second last.
Second last
Yes.
batch. Oh.
Okay, actually until 2025.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair.
Yes.
And you?
Hi, so I'm Ashi and I'm the co-host of a podcast called Brooke Bungles Podcast, and it's a female-centric podcast in the eyes of minority women. So I'm co-hosting with Sabrina, and I'm also working in the media industry but currently unemployed. Fun-employed, sorry, I keep saying unemployed.
What's so fun about not employed?
Exactly. That's
I'm
the
having
fun part
so
about
much
it.
fun. I'm having so much fun.
So how are you filling up your time then?
I'm going to be traveling quite a
Okay.
bit, and I'm here. So
Uh-huh.
I think quite slay. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't be saying slay, but I think it's quite
Slay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get cancelled for this, okay? Okay, fair. So, but then, if you are unemployed or fun employed, then how do you spend your time then in that sense?
I have quite a bit of hobbies. Like other than podcasting, I also do dance and I go out with friends and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, well, that's quite a lot of hobbies, right? So,
There's so much hobbies.
so
many hobbies.
great start, right? Okay, so today we are gathered here in the studio to talk a little bit about sustainability, right? Essentially, it is the pet topic of every single podcast out there. Like almost everyone wants to talk about it, and I have tuned into multiple, and I think it's very lame. So that's why we are here, right? To talk a little bit about it in a way that actually is tangible for people to understand where are things moving towards, especially the millennials, right? So because most of our audience, working class millennials, they got no time to be fun employed. They got 2 kids to take care, right? they cannot be too liberal. Life is so hard on the working class, right? So either way, today we're going to talk a little bit about sustainability. So I have come to know that sustainability is not a very well-defined word,
Yes.
right? At this point in time, because I've done a few episodes around this already. So what is sustainability to you?
Longevity at the end of the day.
You see, Paul Science.
Yeah.
See?
Because for me at least, right, to be honest, I'm not an environmental person. Like, honestly, I'm here to actually get more insights on it. And what's interesting is that I've actually attended a lot of forums surrounding in the environment, sustainability. A lot of my friends are in that space as well. But personally, I'm finding it difficult to grapple around the whole concept of it, simply because there's just so many definitions. And at the same time, people are afraid to ask, because if you ask, you get cancelled. Or, if let's say you do not know, then people are like, you're so uncultured and ill-informed.
That's me.
I mean, that's me also.
I'm very
but the
cultured.
thing is that,
I'm other cultured. I'm not uncultured.
slay.
Right, slay. right. Yes. Woo! I learned so much today. Please, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, sustainability surrounding the environment at the end of the day is regarding longevity of things and survival of human beings, animals, nature reserves and stuff. I mean, for me at least, there's not a lot of, to be honest, I'm not a very sustainable person. I still complain at the fact that how come got no plastic straws? I am that person. But at the same time, I try to change my habit by not carrying a hydro flask, but I have some random bottle that is at home and I just bring it out. I just try my best to be as kind to the environment as possible because I do love the animals. So I guess that's where I draw the line.
Okay, fair. Sustainable there.
Yeah, I think longevity also, to me, I would say it's responsibility, because I think we often think of the environment as something separate to ourselves, but actually we're all interconnected.
Yes.
Yeah. So like you think you
That's
and a
why
plastic
millennials-
bottle have like nothing to do with each other. But like we are the ones who are drilling oil from the ocean and making oil into plastic. And of course, like there's only limited resources on Earth. So yeah, everything is interconnected. Like I don't know. Financial coconut. You talk about the economy and like stocks, and then the stock. You see, the oil company stock price go up. Then what happened? Yeah, everything is connected, right? We also need money to survive. So yeah, even the environment and economy super like interconnected. Yeah.
Okay, but we don't drill for plastics, right? We drill for the oil. The plastic is like a byproduct that 顺便, it's like here. It's like, oh, okay, let's use it. That's kind of how it all started.
We create
But
create
over
plastic a lot.
we
Yeah.
become more and more reliant on it. But a lot of these things started as byproducts.
But I would have to say plastic is definitely so useful to like us. Like we use plastic for hygiene purposes as well. Like look at COVID, man. I think we consumed a lot more plastic, creating like masks, even our clothing, like polyester. It is made of plastic or like basically oil lah. Yeah, and so when I say like the environment or sustainability is responsibility, I think at the end of the day, it's like, are we holding ourselves accountable for the things that we create and the things that we put back into the environment? Yeah, even these byproducts, we still need to be responsible for them. Yeah.
Very atas are the discussion. Right? It's very atas, very elevated.
Okay, let me just make it like more layered.
Yes,
then.
please come. Yes.
Okay, but I totally agree with her. Like, to me, sustainability is all about social responsibility. It's like what.
Also very atas.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Okay, I go.
But please, yes,
Yeah,
come.
but I personally am not very sustainable, and I'm just like Nisha. Sometimes I do complain where the hell are the plastic straws, or like when the 7-Eleven person asks me, do I want a plastic bag for 10 cents? Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I do need it. So I'm not the most sustainable person, but being chronically online, I do see a lot of like external like pressure from like TikTok, from Instagram telling me to be sustainable. And sometimes I do feel like sustainability is such a scary topic. It's very hard for you to penetrate the topic and for you to really get into the habit of being sustainable. So to me, sustainability is still quite a far-fetched like concept to me. But it's something that I want to cultivate lah as a habit, which is why I'm here today.
Wait, why is sustainability scary? I think amongst the millennials, like, sustainability is lame.
I would say
It's like, oh, another one, just shut up.
DJ
You know, like,
it's quite scary though, because I feel like, example, right, if you are openly supportive of Shein online, you are going to get a lot of flack. Or if you say, I don't want to save the turtles, I want to have my plastic straws, there will be people that will just come for you, and it's become quite a hostile environment. So sometimes like having new ideas or going against what some of like the traditional like sustainability beliefs is quite scary and daunting. But then again, like I said, I am chronically online, so maybe I'm just too into like...
So maybe that is not sustainable.
Yes.
Right? Because
yes.
you are using technology to suppress what is in your head, right?
Exactly.
What about you? Don't do it. Don't charge lah. Right? Is that more sustainable? Okay, let's all go green that way, is it?
No, but like actually I have to say a disclaimer also, because I still use plastic. Like if I go to 7-Eleven and I need a bag, because I'm carrying like, I don't know, 6 like bottles of like water for like my company, right? Like, and I don't have a bag on me, then I would get a plastic bag. But the question is, what do you do with the plastic bag after you use it? Do you reuse it? Do you use it to take out the trash? You know, what do you do with it afterwards? So I think that is also like the question. When I say like, oh, we need to be responsible for it, I think Singapore also, the funny thing, guys, is that Singapore doesn't really recycle. Okay, wait. I mean, we do have the blue bins, like downstairs your HDB or even in the
I
parks.
still haven't collected mine yet. I'm just like, I'm like, I can't be bothered because my house doesn't recycle.
No, yeah. Okay, I know some of the new HDBs, right? They have this new system where you can throw your recyclables down the chute.
Oh, mine also, the chute is like, I don't even get me started on the sustainability of that. Never mind, that's a different rant. But like for mine at least, right, because mine is an older building and stuff, we don't have that kind of like the chute where you can like, throw the recyclables and non-recyclables and stuff like that. I mean, I've never seen before, so that's a whole new concept
it's not
to
in
me.
my estate either.
Yeah, mine too. But
Yeah.
but to be honest, I'm not sure if the blue bins that we see there for recyclables are they really being recycled at the end of the day? Because
I
I
mean,
see
my
people
friend
throwing
got-
trash in there.
My
so-
friend got that to like have more storage for her clothes. So like she's like, I'm not recycling, I'm just using that to put my clothes in. I'm just like, oh,
No.
okay, go off, I guess. I mean, you're utilizing it regardless. Granted, it's not for the purpose, but who am I to say, right?
I mean, like if like
Mm.
the recyclables get contaminated with like trash,
Mm-mm.
then it actually can't be recycled anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Mm.
thing. So it's really sad.
So if like one person just ruins the whole stash, they're
Yeah,
like, oh, we're just gonna throw
exactly.
everything out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
Oh.
gonna go to like your normal like waste. Okay, but the thing is that in Singapore, right? So we do recycle with the blue bins, but the rest of our trash, it goes into the incinerator.
Mm.
So it basically gets burned up and converted into energy. Yeah, that we use to like, light up our HDBs and houses and
So what's so bad about
buildings.
that?
Oh, it's not terrible. But the another issue is that once you burn up the waste, right, it produces like ash and dirt and just like dust. Have y'all seen Wall-E? Y'all seen Wall-E, right?
Yeah.
He like crams the trash together and then he stacks it up in a landfill. So we do have mountains of like
Wall-Es?
dirt and yeah, yeah, exactly. The thing is that we don't have enough space on Pulau Sumakau to keep our trash anymore. Then like if we don't have enough space, like where's our trash gonna go, you guys?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's also like a big question that our government is trying to like
But
deal
I
with.
mean, I just want to be clear, right? Don't you think like these are just like super small concerns, right? Like it's just a plastic bag, like I get it, right? It's a start of it, you want everybody to optimize those things, but you shouldn't it be like even before like the bigger things like reduction in consumption, don't overconsume some of these things, because there's a two main track of sustainability discussion, right? One is to reduce your consumption. The other one is to kind of improve your consumption habits such that it reduces the impact on the environment. These are two main tracks of the discussion, right? But why is everybody not talking about like, oh, how about we just eat less? Why don't we just don't I should be looking at myself, right? But anyway, yes. So like, why don't you just eat less lah, right? Or just consume less, do less.
Oh, I should ask you that, like. So why aren't you doing it?
I don't know. Right? It's not in my primary concern. That's why I find it interesting. It's not in the primary concern of the young millennial family that has 2 kids. The lady is very, very busy working. The guy also very busy working. Every day they quarrel about money. They still gotta take care of the kids. And then sick leave, hand, foot, mouth disease. Everything is a big problem in the working millennial's life. Right? The trash can is the last thing they care.
I think
Right.
honestly
So-
for me as well, like bringing rice back home is more important than like to me at least. It's more important for me to pay my bill tomorrow than to be worried about like for example, being sustainable, to be blunt. Like
Yeah.
even with, for example, regarding Shein and stuff. So I think recently, like, I think she was talking about the whole like online culture where people get like quote unquote flamed if they were to like do things that are not aligned with what everybody believes in. So there was this couple of influencers who went to
Like who?
no some overseas. Honestly, I don't know their names.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they're based in the US and the UK
Yeah, they're
and
like big
stuff.
influencers with like millions, like
Whoa.
Millions.
together they have millions of followers.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
these people were like, they went to like the Shein factory in China to see, and obviously, in that sense, at least it was like painted as this really well-maintained place and stuff like that. And then people were like, saying that how Shein is unsustainable. They have they have the ongoing accusations of them exploiting child labor and stuff like that. Then I throw back the question and say, if I am somebody who, for example, only makes $100, and for me I need to get like, for example, like tires for work and for school, would I pay $10 on Shein or maybe $20 on Shein and get 3 outfits there, or use that $20 and go Cotton On and not even being able to buy a tube top for myself? I would choose
Yeah.
Shein, to be blunt.
But I think the problem with that is just that because we don't see the effects of
Yeah.
it immediately. Like what you said, like you have to go home to your family. What you see is your family, but you don't see the practices behind it. And the only way that you get to see the realities of this is if you see it online. And I think that's why for Gen Zs, especially people our age, especially people our age.
It's my show. Okay? Yes.
I just like for people our
Slay,
age, right? Yeah, because like I said, Gen Zs are very online. So when you're online, you get to see things that are happening overseas. And that's when you start to see that these things matter. Because when I go home, the first thing I do is open TikTok. And then just so happens on my algorithm, like something about Shein or something about child exploitation or something about labor laws just comes up. And I'm just like, oh shit, now it matters to me because I've seen this. I can't like suddenly not care. So I think that's why Gen Zs put a lot of more emphasis on sustainability compared to like the older generation, because our priorities are no longer the same lah. I think once I have a family, sustainability might not be like my top.
Yeah, I think
priority
Gen Z
anymore.
too free.
I am
You got nothing to care. That's why you must find something to care, right? And it becomes a thing. So maybe you can just shoot at the millennials, right? Like what do they not understand about sustainability? Like why, what is something that they're doing that's wrong?
To be honest, I feel like I have that millennial mindset because to me as well, it doesn't matter to me about sustainability at this junction because I have a lot more other things to worry about, like bills, getting a job, graduating, and all that kind of stuff that doesn't matter. Like again, linking back to when it comes to shopping practices and stuff. I mean, I do thrift at times. I mean, that's like the only
thrifting is lovely.
Yeah, thrifting is really lovely. That's
yes.
something I honestly enjoy. I would say it's a fun habit. And to be honest, I would rather buy from Shein than from Cider. I'm just going to put that out right now. I mean, it's cheap. And let's be real, the clothes that I bought, it has been lasting me for years. So I'm not really complaining about it. I'm honestly okay. But at the same time, I do acknowledge, I have to obviously be very politically correct here, but I do acknowledge that sustainability is an issue partly because people do not know how to go about doing it. People don't see the importance when it comes to it, but not in a sense that because they don't give a damn about the environment. Can I say the word shit?
Yeah, go.
Oh,
go for
people
it.
don't give a shit about the environment. It's not that people don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about it. It's just more of the fact that that's not my priority. In 24 hours, do I want to sleep or do I want to advocate? I might want to just take a nap for a while, So I would say that there's just so many other things that make it very difficult for people to even practice sustainability or even preach about it or talk about it, I feel.
I think basically people just don't have the time to first of all educate yourself about it, and then how do you even do that, right? I would say maybe the generation is different because for Gen Zs, maybe because we're in school, we're not preoccupied with oh my god, I need to be on work on time, or I need to meet a client at this time, I need to take a call, and I need to go home and cook.
Eye rolling. I tell you, 3 years time, in 3 years
No!
time, you will be doing
Oh my
that.
God. No,
and then you'll be like,
I know.
Reggie, actually,
No.
right, I was wrong. Right? Sustainability can take a back seat.
I mean,
right?
I have to say, I'm also even in school, I do have part-time jobs and so on. So I do understand I think especially in cities, we are just so busy as city people that if you don't, I think if you live in Singapore, you cannot not work. It is impossible to not have a job because you need it to live in the city. But I would say in terms of generational differences, kids, who I know primary school these days, the education system, they are trying to implement more sustainable development kind of topics or modules into civic education, which is really cool because I guess the schools are recognizing that this is important. And so we want, now when actually children have the time to study about these things, to learn about it, so that their parents who may not have so much time, eventually, right, the whole family, will get to know about it and try to learn from each other. So I think in that way, we have different problems to settle. Your generation, my parents also different problems, but eventually we still want to continue living lah. So must like that law.
So then what is a struggle that millennials are you think that something that millennials do that is very not sustainable that they should stop? We want to call them. Hey, I hope you're enjoying Wise and Shine so far. I'm your host Reggie, aka your chief financial coconut, and for us to continue to do this show so that you become a tad bit wiser every week, you gotta like, share, subscribe, help us beat the algorithm. But even more importantly, if you can, comment in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts and also some questions that you would love us to answer. Now back to the show.
Firstly, Grab rides. Okay, so much Grab.
I thought of that as well.
I'm sorry, but I have a friend who grabs to work 4 to 5 times a week. That's basically her work week lah. And her excuse is that I'm always late. I wake up late, then I rather just take a Grab and just chill in the Grab than to fight for seats on the MRT and whatnot. And these Grab rides kind of accumulate, and it doesn't make sense not only in terms of sustainability but financially. It just doesn't make sense. So it's I feel Grab has been thriving in our society nowadays, and I don't really understand why also, because it's just so expensive. It's getting more expensive. It's not sustainable. And even the eco-friendly option, do you actually reach out on your Grab and be like, okay, I'll go for eco-friendly
Why should I pay you that 10 cents to be eco-friendly when
Exactly.
you can pay that damn 10 cents? That pisses me off.
Yes,
That's where I draw the line.
And today's podcast is brought to you by Grab, right? I was like,
Oh
that would be the best turn. That would be the best turn. But no, not yet, last year. Right. But oh my god. But okay, let me provide a different perspective around this Grab ride thing. Right? Okay, so firstly, millennials, right? If they can consider Grab ride on a regular basis, they are not financially struggling. So you have already weeded out everyone else that are, don't have that luxury of choice. Right? So then that's that. And then the other thing is, when I think about it, right? Okay, maybe I'm in Serangoon Garden. I need to go back to Tampines, right? Public transport would take me like 1.5 hours, right? And I'm already very tired, right? And I still gotta go in and squeeze, right? And by the time I get home, I'm so shagged out. I end up having a harder morning the next day. As compared to that $20 that I'll pay. Just send me home. I don't need to stress about it. It may be the same time, because I may end up got that 1.5 hours. Okay, I spend more time with you, and then that half hour I go home, right? So it may be the same time. I may not be saving time, but it saves me a lot of energy. It saves me a lot of that kind of like commute stress.
Yeah.
Commuting is quite stressful. Have you not seen Raffles Place in the morning? It's like you cannot even move.
Shambles.
It's like, yeah, you don't even need to move, because everybody will move you along.
Yeah.
Right? Raffles Place in the morning. Right? So that is a different look at it, right?
Yeah.
I used to be a bit harder on people that take Grab, but nowadays I also cannot tahan. I very my time is so packed that that $20 I'll just give it to you and then we just go.
Yeah. I think what Ashley said about like habits though, like when it becomes a habit, that's when it's like I feel like you gotta like reset yourself a little bit. Because I totally relate. Like if I'm so tired from work on top of like, studying in school, dude, I would probably just get like a taxi as well. Especially when like, my work ends so late that the MRT is not working anymore. Okay, that one really bo pian. But when it becomes like a habit, like taking Grab like five times a week.
Yeah.
But if my company is paying, if my company says, okay, I'll cover for you, or like, they say you can claim it and stuff like that. Hey, look at me, I will take Grab 10 times a week if I could, honestly. I have no shame. I will take it in a heartbeat.
And the system rewards you, right?
I
And
would
because
take
you're like,
20.
oh my god, I get to
We
collect
compete,
points.
say.
Exactly. I would be like, you know what, I'm taking
Just
Grab.
go,
and
I'm
then-
going for it. Yeah,
And that's the
clogging my
thing.
points.
Okay, so I'm personally like a public transportation girly, and it's actually not by
Why are you
choice.
so proud about public transportation?
I'm not.
Everyone takes public
Hey,
transportation.
she's an environmentally
It's a-
sustainable
Okay.
queen. Her and Slay.
Okay lah, but it's really not by
I
choice.
to take bus only also like must like flex like that. Like,
But it's really not by choice. It's because I really no money for Grab lah. So I have no choice but to take public transport. And I think it's really about priority lah. Like if you really prioritize your time, then Grab makes the most sense. But if you're like, I can spare like an additional half an hour to go to town, then why not just take public transport? And like in Nisha's case, like if she wants to walk home, then she just walk home and then she pays $0. So it's really about what do you want to give up? You know what I mean? And it's also public transportation also is not exactly cheap. It's still quite expensive in my opinion.
Yeah, the concession is like 90-50 for the university.
wait,
It's
Yeah.
90.
90-50, and then
Yeah.
it's like for the adult one, because I remember I got it like for my brother, right? It was like $124,
Yes,
$124 or $112 one of it. And I'm just like, it's supposed to be public transport. Where's the public? I don't get it. Like, just because I'm outside. And then, there's the whole Simply Go concept, right? So I tap. The money also nicely Simply Go out of my account also. So like, I don't even get it. I lose like so much of money. It's like the things that, and I see think, oh, it's so convenient. Tap. At what cost? Literally, at what cost? It's so, I cannot. It's so expensive. I'm sorry. I got pissed off because cause for me, I usually go tuition. So I usually tend to take the bus. And then I didn't even realize that I kept tapping. By the end of the week, I took like the bus maybe like one day, like 2-3 times. It was only like a couple of stops. I spent like easily maybe like $12 to $13 on it. I'm just like, that $12 to $13 could be having
Wait,
like
per week or what?
per
ride?
week.
Oh, okay. You
And
scared me.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like $12-13, right, could have been like a nice McSpicy meal upsized with cheese and a caramel frappe at the side.
Priorities,
Yeah.
girl.
And like with one,
Priorities.
and with one like McFlurry, because I believe that ice cream digests the food. You know what I mean? Like,
Ice cream digest the food. Who taught you that? Right. But,
Me.
okay.
Wait, is
Yeah.
it because you're lactose intolerant?
Yeah.
no, I'm not
Ah.
lactose intolerant. I love milk. I'm a very big fan. But I think it's just very, very, it's very challenging at the same time. But also I can't say anything that, okay, then I don't do anything. I can't sit at home and do nothing. Also, I can't walk to Raffles Place. I stay literally in Pulau Jurong. I stay all the way.
Pulau Jurong.
Yeah, I mean, it takes me an hour and a half to walk to JB if I decide to do that. So I can't walk.
How do you even know that it's an hour
Because
and a
I
half?
walked by mistake.
Oh
That's exactly why
my god.
my friend and I took the wrong turn and we ended up at like the JB checkpoint.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, it's very difficult for people to, have options at the same time because everything is equally priced. Of course, it comes at the expense of things. I mean, like, it's coming back to the point of like a working class. If, let's say, for me, if I can claim it through my company, it's convenient for me, I'm doing it. If that day I'm exhausted, I have a long day at work, if I have to take Grab, I'm doing it. I'm not paying the 10-cent eco-ride crap. Grab can do that for themselves. They know how to be eco-friendly. They have enough money to be eco-friendly. They can do it. And I think there's also another thing about having enough money to be eco-friendly. Like a lot of people, people whom I know who preach a lot about sustainability are the same people who are living in a nice 3-4 story house.
Yes.
Like, you can afford to be sustainable. You can go and buy this and buy that and all that kind of thing. Be like, get my hydro flask. Okay, what do you want me to do about it? Give you a trophy, give you a medal for being able to afford something because you have the propensity to. Like, you know what I mean? And I think whenever like people like that like decide to preach and like, okay, if let's say for me, I believe if you're advocating for something but you don't force it on people, it's fine. But I hate it when people advocate and force it on somebody, especially if I'm not somebody who believes in it or I don't have the propensity to do it. Does it make me a bad person? No, I just don't have the capabilities to do it. And that's it.
Talking about your point about like whether you can do it. Like, for example, for me, right, when I look for like fashion brands and whatnot, right, I'm more on like the smaller side. So when I'm trying to find clothes, right, I really cannot find clothes that fit me. And unfortunately, Taobao, Shein, they have clothes that are like the perfect size for me.
Why is that unfortunate? That's fortunate.
I mean, fortunate for me, but unfortunate for the environment, But as in, I feel like there's a lot more than just being sustainable.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that you need to really consider. And for me, if I want to feel confident in my clothes, it's whether I choose to spend $10 on a Shein costume that is like a lot nicer and fits my curves, whatever curves I have, or if I were to spend $100 on like maybe like a Zara top, which Zara is not even that sustainable
It's
to
not
start
nice,
with.
honestly.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even feel confident in what I wear. So there's a lot of things that I have to kind of juggle with, like
And I
whether
think
I want
if
to be
you're
sustainable
like-
and be fashionable, or do I want to be sustainable but feel good in what I wear, or there's a lot of things I have to consider.
And I
which
think
is
with
hard.
your line also, like, like you do dance and then you're in the media and all that kind of stuff, you always have to buy costumes. Like, you can't be spending $100 every single time. Be like, okay, I need to like dance in the middle of Raffles Place and like, okay, you know what? I mean,
I'll wear a beautiful like I don't know, Love Bonito top.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
like matching pants, and that's
yeah,
like
you can't
$100 suit.
you can't pay that $100 all the time. You need, if you go on Shein, that $100 can have you like for like 7 to 8 dances. I mean, like she performs very often. Please go check her out. But like, yeah, so I think that's also another thing that people don't factor in, that affordability becomes an issue. And how do we sustain? You can't really be entirely sustainable because there are certain constraints that you have to say that, you know what, I can't look past. This is something I have to draw the line at for myself.
So we conclude, no need sustainable.
No. Still
Conclude, we
Audacity.
conclude. This is the end of the podcast. Thank you.
Well, I think like when we are like doing something unsustainable, right? Maybe you have counter with something else. Like, for example, when I shop at Shein, I do think about like
$5 to community chess. So
no lah, like I do think about like, okay, in the next week I'll probably like not use like a plastic straw, or I'll just bring a tote bag when I go out shopping. And it's those little things that it will just like fill up my guilty conscience for spending like $20 on Shein. So I guess it's more of like, what can you...
The devil works hard, but she works harder.
I like that.
I feel like,
That's so funny.
oh my goodness. What is
Sustainable.
true sustainability?
What do you define as true
what is true
sustainability?
sustainability?
Honestly, I don't know what the rubrics
Don't go
is lah.
out, namaste, true sustainability.
Okay, but like I have to say, like everything. I mean, earlier I mentioned we're all interconnected.
Yes.
So actually, like if we all consume, then like if in consumption is not sustainable, then like everyone is not sustainable. Even like your pets, like your dogs, your cat, the ant on the floor, not sustainable. So but I think like a different way that I think about sustainability is like just be like mindful of how much you consume, like how much, right? So even Patagonia, and they like, I think the founder donated the company or something.
Yeah, like
right?
fully donated.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
read that.
yeah. So I think for them, they're just like very hyper conscious of their position, and I think that's good. But also like their consumption of like materials, and I like to look at materials because I think that's like the best way you can see whether or not it's sustainable in relation to like the systems. So they use like cotton you can recycle, if something is a blend, say like 50% cotton, 50% polyester, you actually can't recycle it. Like you can only reuse it, but it cannot be like broken down, into something and then like recycle into like a whole new t-shirt again. Yeah, so I think that's something like quite interesting. If you think about how you like clothes as like how your food, right? Like what are the ingredients you put inside, your clothes, and whether or not, it can be, regenerated into something else. Yeah. Like so being more mindful of like, if I buy this t-shirt that is like a blend, can it be, am I actually being sustainable, or should I just buy something that is like 100% cotton? Then I can recycle it. But I think it also depends on like where you live, like Singapore. Earlier I mentioned like we don't really recycle because everything gets incinerated. Yeah, so make sure that your clothes, your cotton goes to, I don't know, Malaysia and gets like recycled.
But actually, at some point, right, I think this whole sustainability thing really have to give into some sort of authority structure, right? Similar to like halal food, right? Like you see the halal logo there, you're not question like, is this really halal? Right? If that thing turns out to be a fake halal cert, right, the whole kampong will come and attack them.
Yeah.
Right? It's like so that is the kind of level that we're not at, right? And by extension, when it comes to sustainability, that's why there's all sorts of people saying they're sustainable. You claim that you're sustainable, but what are the parameters, right? Like who is regulating this thing?
I feel like for me, I mean, I'm hopeful that there would be a definition someday, but I don't see it anytime soon because of how diverse opinions are, how everybody ends up being like a sustainable king / queen / emperor, emperor / whatever you want to be, So I feel like it's very difficult to ever have that definition, to be honest. Because, I mean, if let's say, whose lens are you going to adopt? Are you going to adopt the lens of a corporation, of an individual, of the state, of society? Whose definition are you going to adopt, first things first? Second thing is, every state is different. It's a size-wise, geography-wise, resources-wise. Like, for example, Singapore can afford to be sustainable. Singapore has the practices, initiatives, ground level, top down, bottom up, whatever you want to say. They have that, the approaches and efforts. But in another developing country where, they are simply not able to do it, it's difficult. I mean, obviously they have other sustainable practices that they do, which is great. But is it because they want to be sustainable, or is it because that's their mode of survival? If their mode of survival, for example, I mean, we were just talking about being farmers just now. If their mode of survival is doing farming, are they really being sustainable, or are they just surviving? So it's very difficult to put that definition because it differs place to place and everything. And I think ultimately it boils down to personal responsibility. If like you cannot really do everything, but you can do something, like maybe for example, as a millennial, what can you do? Don't waste food, lor. You waste food, then you lose money also, what? So you look at it that way, I mean, that's how I tell my parents, say, oh, you buy how much you can eat. You buy more, you can't eat, lose money some more. I mean, in my head, I would think about food wastage as well, but they wouldn't think of that. But they would say, she's right. I don't want to lose money there. So that's kind of how I would say, if I had to explain, I would say just do that. I mean, something that's a bit more easier in that sense, where you can see the effect. Like you say, we cannot like see it. That's a way you can see it. And you can feel it in your pocket also. When your pocket burns a bit when you pay the $10 more. You really feel it.
Fair.
I mean, I have to say also, like, sustainability doesn't have to be like expensive. Like buying from like Patagonia, or like your friend go at LV, I can buy so many Nike shoes. But like there's other, like, how do you say, outlets where that fit your like lifestyle. So like I know for people who they need like costumes for work, or like dancing, or like they like to go for like events like night gala and whatever, you can always like rent an outfit.
Or don't go.
Yeah.
It's good food.
Your boss price it.
Got good food.
Very
Very
sustainable.
sustainable.
Must stay at home. Yes.
It is good food. If you're invited for it, go for it.
Yeah. Then there's renting. There's also like swapping. I mean, like,
Swapping,
y'all
yeah.
Or you
have
can just
friends.
borrow your friends' clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
true, yeah.
And then now my mom also, like, the clothes that I don't wear,
She
I give
swap
to
with
her.
you.
Yeah, and then after that, she don't want to wear, she pass to me. So like, mother-daughter bonding.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, and I know this company, they are a social enterprise called Kloop. So they also host like events where you can swap clothes. And there's like the Mother's Day event. So that was actually like when I brought my mom, it was her first experience like thrifting or like swapping, and she does have this like idea that like, it's someone else's clothes, like I don't know who died in this, I don't know wear it.
The pantang.
Yeah.
Pantang, yeah.
But I think
must
like
put 3 big washing machine at the event.
yeah.
Like, you wanna? Okay, can wash now. Right.
Yeah, but like I think because all the items, they are inspected by Kloop, right, to make sure there's no stains, like everything is in good condition. Actually, most of the clothes that Kloop has is
No
like
spirits.
branded.
Yeah.
It's branded, so it's like it's the stuff that your mom wants to wear, and of course it's in good quality lah, so you can wear to work, can wear for wedding, what. So I think she was like, oh, actually this is like, it's not bad. Yeah. They have accessories also, shoes. You maybe got LV shoe that I can find.
I just want a sponsorship. Please.
You gotta try harder. We'll talk about this
Okay,
later.
I'll start crying over here while I'm at
I
it.
teach you how to do it.
You can just start bullying me. Bully me
Yes,
for
yes.
it, then I can get it.
Then you get cancelled. Then we go
yeah, you
viral,
cannot
right?
cancel. That's the easiest way to
right.
get sponsorship.
Great. Okay, great. So, last question for all of you, right? So, what is your hopes and dreams lah for a green Singapore? What do you think is something that needs to happen?
I think like for me, hearing what everyone has said is like green education. There are quite a few, and I'm very hopeful about this, but there are quite a few like green education like hubs in Singapore. Young startups lah. So like one of my friends, she runs Earth School, and they basically work with MOE to provide like environmental education for like primary school kids. And then they're also, I think MOE is also updating their geography syllabus, to include more like sustainable development stuff. So I think like young people, you guys are really important because you have the power to like make changes in your companies and the people around you. So I think that's really hopeful. Yeah, I think like education and awareness, even though it's not like in an instant, like you won't get it, the change won't happen right away, but we're all here talking about sustainability, so that's like pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I want to add on to your point also. I feel like the government has a big part to play in this also, because I lived abroad in South Korea for exchange, and they have a very big recycling culture there where like you have to separate your trash, your food wastage and recyclables, and if you don't do it properly, right, you'll be fined. And people have just adopted that as a way of life. They don't even question it, and they actually do it out of habit. So I feel like it's something that we can cultivate in our own society, especially since Singapore is so small, and I think the younger generations are more open to this kind of practices. It's definitely something that the government can like, explore a little bit. So that's why I'm a bit hopeful that with the younger generation, how they're always online and learning new things, it's definitely a possibility.
Explore a little bit. Do you mean like laws? Or are you like campaigns?
I don't know if law would be the most efficient way, because there are people who are going to be like, I don't want to be sustainable. Why is this my problem? Like, it's the corporation's problem. So I think it's cultivating it from a young age and then slowly having that habit and slowly implementing it as maybe a law, because South Korea did that and it pretty much worked though. Yeah.
So, but the fine for returning the tray works, right?
That works.
Suddenly everybody returns
Yeah,
tray.
exactly.
Oh, now okay, it's easy, very easy return tray.
I think turning the habit into a lifestyle. I think it's ultimately having this kind of sustainable practices and habits as a lifestyle. And why do I say lifestyle and not a habit? Because, a habit can be something that, okay, suddenly I'm like, okay, suka do that, I don't feel like doing it, I'm not doing it, what are you going to do about it? And another thing is that, when you say it's a lifestyle, you can look at it in a more of a collective manner. When it's a habit, it's okay. That could be my habit, but not your habit. But when you say it's a lifestyle, it could be something that all of us do together. So I think incorporating it in such a way where, you don't have to tell people, okay, today morning you're going to grab all your plastic bottles and you're going to wash them and recycle them. No, whatever you can do in your propensity, do it. Or, if you can do it as a family, do it. Even if in your family there's only one person who believes and the rest doesn't, just do your efforts. I think ultimately trying your best to do what you can do on your end is sufficient. You can't be going out there to make a change unless, you're an advocate, you're in that space, and that is literally your bread and butter and everything. Then, then obviously you have a larger stake in the whole, sustainability front of things. But I think that's something that as, individuals you can do. And I think it's not just, as you say, like, it's not an individual thing. You have your corporations, you have your government, society, NGOs, people, you have all these various group of people who have different stakes and they all can do something about it. I think it's talked about the fairer labor laws and stuff. I mean, they can look in, the government and these corporations can look into doing something where there's this quote unquote like a law / like a force kind of thing that, you gotta be somehow sustainable somewhere, not gonna define where, but along those lines, I mean, we have all these this Paris agreement and all that kind of stuff. So looking to this kind of things, institutionalizing it, I think that's also important, because if right now I tell, like, back to the tray thing, if nobody gave a damn about returning the trays, but now because of a fine we're doing it. I mean, I wouldn't go to an extent and say, you better fine. If you don't do it, I'm gonna fine you for not recycling. But I think something along those lines that encourages them, or worst case scenario just forces them to do it and be like, just please do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I really agree with you on like the government thing though. Like in the sense that like I think a efficient way that maybe to incentivize corporates to be more like sustainable would be, government give you a better deal lah when, in working with them, if you actually have sustainable practices.
So if you like
why government cannot give you directly? Why must go through the corporation?
No lah, as in because we're talking
if today
about
I'm the government, why not
individual
I
level.
give you? Why not I, if I compared
Give
to
both up.
okay, yeah, of course. If you got abundance, it's always great, right? No, because I'm always very concerned about like this kind of corporate stuff, right? So like why not, instead of me supporting the company in hopes that they will become more sustainable, I give a slash on the EZ-Link card concession. Isn't that more powerful? Everybody takes it.
As in because I think earlier there was some conversation about like, what about at the industry level? Yeah, like how do we get corporates on board with this sustainability thing? So I think like if the government also like has the same values about like sustainability, we want to be, not only save money but efficiency in terms of like environment and like sustainability, then I think in that sense like companies will also follow the tune of the government, right? Yeah. If you're on better terms, then you have better business.
Fair. Yeah. And I think it's already the tune. It's already the tune, right? It is getting so mainstream that it's boring. Right? I mean, that's my take on it, which is a great place to be, if you really want to like push for sustainability. So yeah, thank you for your time. Lovely.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you. Nice. Yeah, finally I'm done. I'm like
Is
the
there no
oldest
slay?
around.
Is there no
that's-
should
slay?
like
are we gonna do
slay.
no slay, no slay, no.
Slay.
And that's a wrap.